Good morning, America. Scenes of devastation. Hurricane Helene carving a path of destruction through the south. Dozens of people killed, entire neighborhoods leveled. Helicopter rescues above dangerous rushing water. Massive damage stretching from Florida to North Carolina.
Didn't think it was going to be nearly as bad as it turned out to be.
GMA with team coverage stretching along the path and where the storm is headed next.
Breaking news, Hezbollah confirming Israel's strike on its headquarters in Lebanon killed the militant group's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, the most significant blow after months of fighting. What it could mean for the region as the two sides trade more strikes overnight.
Race for the White House, Vice President Harris visits the southern border, focusing on immigration as Donald Trump meets with Ukraine's President Zelensky, amid Trump's complaints about the U.S. supporting the war effort.
Countdown to liftoff. SpaceX Crew 9 preparing to depart today to the International Space Station. Their mission and the ticket home for those astronauts left behind.
Remembering Maggie Smith,
I will not resign.
the Oscar-winning actress whose roles delighted audiences for 7 decades.
Pierre Totem Locomotor.
Known for her keen wit and scene-stealing performances. Accolades this morning for this one-of-a-kind actress.
And primetime showdown. Number 2 Georgia faces number 4 Alabama in a rematch of last season's SEC championship. ESPN's Desmond Howard on which powerhouse team could have the edge.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
Good morning, America. It's a good Saturday, right?
Yes.
I mean, we're all starting the day together, so of course it's good, guys. And thank you for starting your weekend with us. We've got a lot of major news happening this morning, including Israel saying its strike on Hezbollah headquarters killed the leader of the group, Hassan Nasrallah. We'll go there live in just a moment.
But the other big story this morning, this one right here at home, the devastation from Hurricane Helene, now a post-tropical cyclone, still dumping rainfall with gusty winds.
Sustained winds hit 140 miles per hour when it came ashore in Florida's Big Bend. It's taken dozens of lives, and the path of damage is enormous. We have team coverage this morning as millions of people are still without power. We begin with ABC's Faith Abube in Atlanta. Faith, good morning.
Yeah, good morning to you, Whit. More than 700,000 people here in Georgia are still without power this morning. Helene's impact has been devastating, but the recovery continues.
This morning, devastation in Florida. Keaton Beach obliterated after being hit with the full wrath of Hurricane Helene.
It's just sad in Keaton Beach. Nothing. That's it.
Helene's destructive reach now seen across 5 states.
The priority now is saving lives.
In Irwin, Tennessee, floodwaters surrounding this hospital. More than 50 patients and staff trapped on the roof. Rescue helicopters rushing in. This video taken from the roof showing one of those choppers approaching. Evacuations had initially begun, but with the water moving in so quickly, they were forced to retreat to higher ground.
Everybody was airlifted off by helicopters. We had 3 from Tennessee and 2 from Virginia. It was extremely windy, very gusty. So unfortunately, we had to wait to get those helicopters in the air.
In Charlotte, one person dying after a tree fell on this home. And an EF3 tornado touching down in Rocky Mount, North Carolina. Cars slammed into the side of this restaurant. Here in Atlanta, vehicles abandoned on sunken streets. The owner of this vehicle fleeing, leaving so quickly the windshield wipers were still running. Atlanta swift water teams rescuing dozens of people. We were there when they carried out the Hall family and their neighbors.
We knew we were stuck once we saw that there was a car in the front area, as well as probably having up to 6 to 7 feet of water.
And in Valdosta, the small business ripped down brick by brick. Rescuers in South Pasadena, Florida, braving both flooding and flames. And in Cedar Key, residents saying there isn't a business left standing.
However bad we imagined it would be when we were fighting this thing in the darkness, it's so much worse in the daylight.
Resident Michael Bobbitt sharing these images from that historic storm surge Thursday night.
I was trying to make it to my mama's house, but it's neck deep here. I'm not able to get any further. This is the museum. Oh no. It's chest deep here now. I'm not gonna be able to go much further. It's about to be over my head. I just saw a car.
And Gio, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services has declared a public health emergency here in Georgia. The governor plans to head to some of the hardest hit areas to survey the damage today. Gio.
And we are thinking of all of those people there. Faith, thank you so much. And Florida was first to feel the power of Helene. And now this morning, residents there are getting a real look at the damage. ABC's Ike Kajachi is following that side of the story from Tallahassee. Ike, good morning to you.
Hey, Gio. Helene slammed into Florida's Big Bend coast Thursday night, bringing heavy rain and strong winds, causing damage all over the state like you're seeing right behind me. Take a look. This roof essentially flew off the business next door and landed right in this neighbor's yard, covering half of the pool. This is the first Category 4 hurricane to make landfall in Florida's Big Bend region, and the storm turning deadly, claiming the lives of at least 44 people so far, 7 of whom reside right here in Florida. Now, the damage is widespread. In Keaton Beach, drone footage showing neighborhoods transformed into lakes as stormwaters inundate homes and businesses. And in the panhandle around Tallahassee, strong winds have downed power lines and trees, destroying homes and cars all throughout the city. The storm knocking out power to over 1 million customers in the state and nearly 500,000 customers still without power. Now, the cleanup and recovery efforts are constant. Over 8,000 miles of roads have been cleared so far, bridges and airports reopening, all while crews work round the clock removing trees off power lines. Now, we do know that FEMA has arrived and is on the ground in the Sunshine State today. In terms of residents in need here, Governor Ron DeSantis is expected to sign an emergency declaration for residents who've suffered catastrophic losses. Janae?
All right, Ike, now from Florida to North Carolina, where major roads closed from flooding. First responders carrying out dozens of rescues there. Also, reporter Tamara Scott, WTVD, joins us now from Asheville this morning. Good morning to you, Tamara.
Hey, good morning, Janae. I want to bring you here to Swannanoa. This is just outside of Asheville in the western part of North Carolina. Take a look here behind me. We are now the sun is up, getting a clearer look of the devastation that is left from this storm. There are still homes sitting in flooded water, and the devastation doesn't end there. Take a look across the street from here. A Bridgestone car repair shop completely devastated. There are sinkholes upon sinkholes. So many places where people are walking around and seeing this devastation. They're emotional because it doesn't just start here or end here. There are homes and trailer parks going down this way where I'm told there are still people there, elderly people there that need help in their homes. All the power is off. There's no water, there's no gas. It's true devastation here, a dire situation where people are starting to realize what has happened here. And we've talked with some emergency responders here, and they're just now getting a look and trying to figure out what's happening here. So this is going to be a lot of cleanup here. It's going to take some time, but I've seen the community come together here. It looks fine. Back to you guys.
Absolutely. Tamara Scott for us this morning. Thank you so much. Now to the latest on the storm track and the timing for all of this. Let's get to Somara Theodore. Somara, what are we expecting?
Whip, before we look ahead, I want to look back just quickly here. This is Helene on Thursday, a monster of a storm, making landfall around 11:10 p.m. just south of Perry, Florida. Now, this part is important. Look at the body of the storm and where it goes. As we push through time, notice how it whips right through the Carolinas. That, coupled with the storm system they had earlier in the week, led to all of these flash flood emergencies we're dealing with. And we still have them in place right now. Flash flood emergency for Boone, North Carolina, Southern Virginia, and far eastern Tennessee. What happens next is the storm continues to decay. That is some good news. We are going to see winds dying down on Sunday with a few scattered showers as we head through the remainder of the weekend, but drying nonetheless. Gio?
That is far from over. All right, Somara, thank you. We're going to turn now to breaking news overseas, sending shockwaves across the world. Hezbollah just confirming that Israel's strike on Hezbollah headquarters in Lebanon killed the militant group's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, and it could signal a massive shift in this war. So let's go to ABC's Marcus Moore, who's in Beirut for us this morning. Marcus, good morning.
Gio, good morning. That word coming in just a short time ago, Hezbollah confirming that the group's leader, Hassan Nasrallah, was killed in a series of rocket strikes on the Dahia district, which is the southern suburb of Beirut. And as that word spreads, the airstrikes continue as Israel keeps up its attacks on Hezbollah. This morning, Hezbollah confirming its leader, Hassan Nasrallah, is dead following the Israeli airstrikes on southern Beirut Friday. But just hours after the first aerial assault, Israel warned people living in the southern suburb of Dahia to leave immediately as the IDF targeted more residential buildings. And this was the scene today in central Beirut. This bombardment forced thousands of families out of their homes. Many went to shelters, others went to be with other families. But then we see many who have ended up in the streets of Beirut. Abdulrahman Azu told us he evacuated his family from their home at 3 o'clock in the morning. How much time did you have to leave? He said they got the warnings to leave, and within 10 minutes, the bombs started falling. He's thankful he and his kids are safe, but he doesn't know what they will do next. In just 1 week, more than 100,000 people have been displaced. The death toll this morning from Friday's strike at 6, with more than 150 injured, but the numbers are expected to rise, according to the Lebanese Health Ministry, as rescue teams sift through the rubble, searching for any survivors. This morning, Israel claiming they're targeting Iranian-based weapons belonging to Hezbollah, some of which they say are stored beneath civilian buildings in the city.
Hezbollah exploits and endangers Lebanese civilians, using them as a human shield for its weapons.
The U.S. said it had no involvement in the attacks.
I can tell you the United States had no knowledge of or participation in the IDF action.
And just before the attacks Friday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu dismissing the U.S. plan for a ceasefire.
Don't let Nasrallah drag Lebanon into the abyss. We're not at war with you. We're at war with Hezbollah, which has hijacked your country and threatens to destroy ours.
Hassan Nasrallah became the leader of Hezbollah back in the early 1990s, and the 64-year-old was a powerful figure here, and his death not only will mark a major shift in this war, but really the tone for the entire region. Janae.
Would be extremely significant. Marcus, thank you for your reporting. And to that point, the attack on Nasrallah potentially signaling a new phase of fighting in the Mideast as we get word the Israeli military is mobilizing additional reserve soldiers. So let's bring in ABC's Tom Sufi Burridge, who's in Israel, and Mary Alice Parks at the White House with reaction. Tom, let's start with you. What are you hearing this morning?
Good morning, Janae. Yeah, Israeli officials are saying they acted on real-time intelligence, blasting that Hezbollah HQ underneath those apartment buildings. And I was just on a briefing where the IDF said their intel makes them certain Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah, was killed in that strike, as well as several other senior Hezbollah commanders. And make no mistake, Nasrallah's death will send shockwaves through this region. It's a huge blow for Hezbollah. He was its political, spiritual, and overall leader for more than 30 years. The IDF calling him, quote, one of the world's strongest and most influential terrorists. And this morning, Israel warning that wave of attacks overnight in southern Beirut that Marcus was reporting on are not the end of its toolbox. But I think here in Israel and across this region, there is unease about what comes next. How will Hezbollah's backer, Iran, respond? Iranian officials are saying Hassan Nasrallah's death has changed the rules of the game. And Israeli officials are conceding this morning that the threat from Hezbollah and its arsenal of tens of thousands of missiles and rockets is still there, adding Israel is ready for a potential wider escalation, saying there are tense days ahead. And of course, the IDF is also preparing for a possible ground incursion into southern Lebanon. Whit?
I will take it from here, Tom. Thank you. And Mary Alice, I want to bring you in now. What are we hearing from Washington? Because we saw President Biden there trying to distance the U.S. from this attack.
Yeah, absolutely, Janae. Look, the U.S. has long worried about Hezbollah's growing military capabilities. But like you said, overnight, President Biden really tried to distance himself from this attack, saying the U.S. had no involvement and was actually given no advance warning. One source here at the White House told me Israel only told them of this operation once it was ongoing, once they had planes in the air. Now, it is very likely the massive bomb used in this move was from the U.S. Now, yesterday, Secretary of State Blinken urged a pause in fighting. He described this as a precarious moment for the Middle East. He said the choices all parties make in the coming days will determine which path the region is on, with profound consequences, possibly for the years to come. Big picture, the U.S. does not want to see their ally engaged in another whole-scale war. For days, the White House has argued the best way to actually allow people from Israel to return safely to their homes in the north is through diplomacy. But it is unclear at this point just how much sway President Biden has. Now, we know overnight the president directed the Pentagon to assess U.S. and adjust as necessary the U.S. force posture in the region. They are worried about troops, about embassies. There's a real fear that U.S. assets could be a target in this moment with potential retaliation.
Mary Alice Parks, thank you. We turn now to the White House with just over 5 weeks to go until Election Day. Vice President Harris is hoping to gain ground on the issue of immigration, visiting the southern border. ABC's Christian Cordero has more on that. Christian, good morning.
Hey, Whit, good morning to you. Yeah, Vice President Kamala Harris wants to flip the script on immigration, knowing this is a vulnerable issue for her. So she met with officials at the border in Douglas, Arizona yesterday, leaning into two main themes there. One, the fentanyl crisis. She vowed to crack down on the flow of fentanyl coming into the U.S., citing her experience as a prosecutor as one of the reasons why she's equipped to take this issue on. She also slammed former President Trump for his role in tanking the bipartisan border security bill that would have hired 1,500 border agents, among other things, saying he prefers to run on a problem instead of fixing it. Trump's main response to all of this has essentially been, what's taking you so long? He repeatedly pegs Harris as the border czar, criticizes her for not visiting it sooner. And overnight, the Border Patrol Union also firing back, calling Harris's visit a photo op. During his campaign stop in Michigan yesterday, Trump doubled down on his promise to close the border and begin the largest deportation in American history. Trump heads to Wisconsin today, where he's expected to single out violent crimes migrants have committed and say the administration is to blame. Worth noting, border apprehensions surged under the Biden administration, but ever since an executive action in June started limiting the number of asylum claims, border apprehensions have actually gone down significantly by more than 100,000 people last month alone, Janae, compared to August 2023. Janae?
All right, Christian, thank you for that update. Meanwhile, negotiations to end the Boeing workers' strike took a turn for the worse Friday. Boeing saying talks are at a standstill as the strike enters its third week. The machinists' union negotiation team and Boeing representatives were in federal mediation Friday, but no new contract that both sides could agree on came out of those talks. Economists estimate the strike has cost Boeing workers and shareholders more than $1 billion so far. And there is no end in sight. Major impacts.
Absolutely.
We're going to go to Florida's Space Coast now, ahead of today's scheduled launch of a NASA crew to the International Space Station. But half of the crew is already there. The two astronauts left behind after technical issues on the Boeing Starliner. Now NASA plans to use today's SpaceX capsule to bring them home next year.
And liftoff.
This morning, NASA and SpaceX gearing up for liftoff to launch the critical mission that will eventually bring two astronauts back to Earth from the International Space Station.
All of our missions have unique challenges, and this one I think will be memorable for a lot of us.
Astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams flew to the ISS aboard Boeing's troubled Starliner back in June. Their 8-day mission turning into 8 months. The spacecraft suffering a series of helium leaks and thruster problems, NASA deciding it was ultimately too risky to fly them home. The two now returning in February on SpaceX's Crew Dragon.
Safety's been our top priority from the get-go, so we treat each one with the same level of safety evaluation and concerns, which is really rigorous. Certainly their first time flying in a SpaceX vehicle.
The Crew Dragon spacecraft was set to carry 4 astronauts to the ISS for a routine science mission. Now the capsule is going up with 2 empty seats, now reserved for Butch and Sonny's return. NASA also releasing these images of the emergency seating built on the space station to put on a Crew Dragon if the astronauts have to evacuate from the space station if there is a catastrophic event or an extreme medical emergency.
I'll just say that the International Space Station is ready and excited to receive the vehicle and its crew. We are looking forward to the docking.
And we should say that once today's Crew Dragon arrives at the space station, they won't actually need those emergency seats, so that's good news. Now, the full crew, including Butch and Sonny, are set to return to Earth next spring.
Okay.
Wow. A very interesting ride they have been on with that. Thank you, Gio. The battle of the Titans of college football still coming up here. Undefeated Georgia and Alabama square off in what could be the biggest game of the year. ESPN's Desmond Howard previews the matchup.
And remembering actress Maggie Smith, the memorable roles that won her legions of fans in 7 decades of films.
Oh, we love her. And later, with grocery prices still so high, advice on saving money to put food on the table. Stick around. You're watching Good Morning America on a Saturday morning. And Welcome back to GMA on this Saturday morning. That's Grammy winner Chappell Roan canceling 2 appearances this weekend at the All Things Go Festival, saying things have gotten overwhelming. This comes after the 26-year-old was criticized this week for her posts on social media, saying she is not endorsing a presidential candidate, but saying she will vote for Kamala Harris. Chappell Roan telling fans, "I need a few days to prioritize my health."
Good for her. Prioritize your health. Do it, always. All right, let's take a look at some of the other big stories that we're following on this Saturday morning. Happening right now, Hurricane Helene carving a path of destruction through the south. This morning, several flash flood warnings remain in effect across portions of the southern and central Appalachians, including multiple flash flood emergencies across parts of North Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. Helene has claimed the lives of at least 44 people.
Also right now, Hezbollah confirming Israel's strikes in Lebanon on Hezbollah headquarters killed the militant group's leader, Hassan Nasrallah. It could signal a massive shift in this war.
And the Chicago White Sox now hold the modern era MLB record for losses. The team losing 4-1 to the Detroit Tigers last night, bringing their season losses to 121. That's the most in a span that dates back to 1900.
Wow. Go White Sox.
That's right.
No, I'm just kidding. Go Cubs. Yeah, because I was like, I don't want to be on the record saying that.
Chicago?
So. All right, it is week 5 of college football, and we begin this half hour with the major SEC matchup between number 4 Alabama, number 2 Georgia. Tonight, the Bulldogs and Crimson Tide will face off for the first time in 21 years without Coach Nick Saban on the sideline. So former Heisman Trophy winner and ESPN football analyst Desmond Howard joined us from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, to break it all down. Hey, Desmond. Yeah, look at him back there.
Hey, everybody.
Man.
Just, these people, they come out here every morning at this time just to see me with you guys, right? So, roll Tide! That's right. That's
like
right.
That
Let's get it going.
Tide. All right, Desmond. The last time we saw the Bulldogs 2 weeks ago, they barely beat Kentucky. What improvements do they need to make to get a win tonight?
Well, that's a really good question. You look at their motivation. Now, I don't want to make excuses for them because they are Georgia, right? This is a dominant team. But going to Lexington is nothing like coming to Tuscaloosa. I mean, when you come to Tuscaloosa, you know you're about to tangle with the giant. So what they need to do first is change their mentality, which I know Kirby Smart and his staff, they already got them mentally prepared for this game. And then Carson Beck, the quarterback, he struggled against Kentucky's defense. What he's going to have to do is make some easy throws early in the game, get into a rhythm. It'll open up the passing game, which will then help their rushing attack.
All right, let's talk about the Crimson Tide here. They went on the road, dominated Wisconsin. What does quarterback Jalen Milroe need to do to have success against the Georgia defense?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, this ain't the Badgers. He's about to go up against the Bulldogs, and they had this number for a couple years until the SEC championship game, which Alabama beat Georgia, and Jalen Milroe was the quarterback. So what does Jalen Milroe need to do? Just be Jalen Milroe. Calm down, be cool, be calm, and make sure that he takes what the defense gives him. This is a new offense, don't forget, because Nick Saban's not here. But at this point in the season, I think he's really comfortable with the offense. He's throwing the ball on rhythm. When the defense drops back, he's taking what they give him as far as rushing yards are concerned. Because don't forget, Milroe's a dual threat quarterback. So I just think he just needs to be Jalen Milroe. Don't make things bigger than what they are. I think he'll be successful tonight.
The live commentary behind you is just too good. We were seeing the boos, let's go. Hey, Des, you love talking about rivalries. So tell us about the rivalry between these two teams.
My fans. Go ahead, say it again.
Oh, the rivalry between these two teams.
I mean, you really can't measure. I mean, Gameday is here. Everybody is here. This is the one that college football stops when Alabama plays Georgia because, it's the clash of two titans. And, of course, Nick Saban and Kirby Smart, they've elevated and escalated this game to a high level. So this rivalry is one of the best rivalries in college football right now.
Desmond, who you got?
You have to tune in to College Game Day, 9 o'clock Eastern, and that's when I'll make my pick.
Oh, Desmond. All right, roll tide.
I want all of your fans to watch College Game Day.
We appreciate it. And Desmond, that shirt, tie, suit combo is exquisite.
Always.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank
Roll
you. I appreciate
tide.
it. Thank you.
All right, tune in to College Game Day starting at 9 a.m. Look at them go on ESPN, and you can watch Georgia take on Alabama at 7:30 Eastern right here on ABC.
He is quite a diplomat, isn't he, that Desmond?
Yeah. He is. He knew how to
Keeping
work
it
that
safe.
because he did not want that crowd to boo him if he said the wrong thing.
A closer look at the presidential campaign as we inch closer and closer to the November election, just around the corner, guys. And joining us from Washington, our ABC White House correspondent, Mary Alice Parks, and contributing political correspondent, Rachel Bade. Good morning to you both. Always great to have you. Mary Alice, let's go ahead and start with you because we saw Vice President Kamala Harris visiting Arizona's border with Mexico yesterday, with polls showing that voters are placing more trust in Donald Trump to handle the immigration issue. How is the Harris campaign really trying to change that narrative?
Yeah, wow, what an evolution we heard from the vice president yesterday on this issue. I mean, long gone are the days of Democrats talking about wanting to decriminalize the border. This was the toughest language we have maybe ever heard from a Democrat when it comes to the border. I mean, Harris said that she will pursue severe criminal charges against repeat violators who cross the border unlawfully. She said if someone does not make an asylum request at a legal port of entry but crosses unlawfully, they will be barred from receiving asylum, period. Now, that is obviously the direction that this administration has been going, but she went even further than President Biden. I think it's a sign of, changing times, a changing reality on the ground, but also changing politics. Even Democrats wanting more order on the southern border. A lot of Democrats I talk to say that she seems more authentically herself when she sort of delivers some of that tough talk, talks about herself as a prosecutor. They liked that she blasted Trump for some of his immigration policy proposals and things that he did in the past when he was in the White House, family separation, detaining families. I mean, those were policies that were hugely unpopular. And last, I'll just say really quickly, I also talked to one immigration expert that gave Harris some credit for how she talked about fentanyl as a law enforcement issue, not an immigration issue. We know that the vast majority of fentanyl is actually trafficked into this country by U.S. citizens at ports of entry. Harris talked about needing to crack down on that without blaming migrants, guys.
And Rachel, over on Donald Trump's side, he has long been a skeptic of aid to Ukraine, but we saw this week that he met with Zelensky. Could this signal a shift in relations there?
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't count on it. As you mentioned, Trump is a Ukraine skeptic who actually blames Zelensky, not Putin, for the ongoing war, all because Zelensky won't take a peace deal that would likely mean giving up some of his own country to Russia. And even during this meeting with Zelensky standing right beside him, Donald Trump was actually boasting about his relationship with Putin, who obviously started this whole war when he invaded Ukraine. But I will say this meeting was important for Zelensky. I mean, he knows that if Donald Trump becomes president again, his country's fate rests in Trump's hands. And earlier this week, he actually angered Trump and some Republicans when he did this stop in the swing state of Pennsylvania at an ammunition factory with Democrats. So this was him trying to sort of smooth things over and get back into Trump's good graces.
Mary Alice, want to bring you back in real quick. Despite all the foreign news, the economy remains the #1 issue for voters here at home. Harris this week had that major economic address. What is she trying to accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, she's been closing the gap bit by bit with Trump on this issue. I mean, she's done that partly by going on offense, challenging voters to look closely at Trump's plans, or as she would say, sort of his lack of plans. During that sort of address there, you're seeing pictures of it from earlier this week, she said that Trump's sort of sweeping answer to the economy to impose tariffs across all sectors of the economy is not serious. She also tried to sort of counter this notion that she's too radical. That's something we often hear from Republicans. She described herself as a capitalist, a pragmatist. I do think she's getting some credit for talking about a range of issues on the economy: healthcare, elder care, child care, lots of different aspects and sectors of this economy where Americans feel like there's long been systematic issues. And that's part of how she's able to get past, or she's trying to get past, the reality that she's the sitting vice president. She's trying to say that these are systemic issues in this country that need fixing, guys.
Mary Alice Parks, Rachel Bade, as always, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Now on GMA, as we celebrate the life of beloved actress Maggie Smith, she earned Oscars for unforgettable roles in the 1960s and 70s and won millions of fans later on for parts in Downton Abbey and the Harry Potter films. ABC's Will Gans has more. Will, good morning to you. I'm sure you loved her.
Working on this was such an honor and such a joy. Yeah, in the beginning of her theater career, it was said Maggie Smith would continue poring over her script, searching for new layers to her character, right up until the curtain came up on opening night. And this morning, the world celebrates that dedication to her career that stretches all the way back to 1952.
I will not resign.
For 7 decades, she turned in performances that were, in a word, magic.
Pier totem locomotor.
Known for withering one-liners.
There's nothing simpler than avoiding people you don't like. Avoiding one's friends, that's the real test.
And Oscar-winning commitment to her craft.
I am a teacher. I am a teacher first, last, always.
Dame Maggie Smith was born in East London in 1934, starting her career on the stage to critical acclaim.
Courtesy itself must convert to disdain when you come in her presence.
Then is courtesy a turn? Before taking the step to the big screen, starring in films like 1963's VIPs, alongside Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton.
I'd work for you for nothing, you know.
Maggie Smith would go on to win Oscars for her work in the prime of Miss Jean Brodie and California Suite.
If I win tonight, darling, it's not going to be an Oscar.
A woman of many and immense talents.
Thank you so much! Julie Andrews will be livid.
Dame Maggie Smith also honored with Emmys, Golden Globes, BAFTAs, and a Tony Award.
My very, very first professional job was here in New York.
Finding major box office success and international acclaim in films like Sister Act.
While you are here, you will conduct yourself as a nun. Only I will know who and what you truly are.
And the Harry Potter films.
Something you'd like to say, dear? Oh, there are several things I would like to say.
But it was Downton Abbey beginning in 2010 that brought her new levels of fame, as she told Graham Norton.
The people coming up to you now, like, because apparently Americans are very, well, you know, they're not shy Americans.
No. But I don't go anywhere, really, where they can get at me.
Dame Maggie Smith died Friday in a London hospital. She was 89 years old.
An interviewer once said it seemed Maggie Smith had no interest in being a celebrity, and the Dame said absolutely none. I mean, why would I? And yet this morning, her co-stars are remembering her as the star she was, like it or not. Whoopi Goldberg calling her one of a kind, and Daniel Radcliffe said she was a fierce intellect, a gloriously sharp tongue. And the word legend is overused, but if it applies to anyone in our industry, then it applies to her. Thank you, Maggie.
Yeah, I mean, I really thought she would be immortal.
Yeah. She did say, though, she was happy Downton Abbey ended because her character would have been about 110 by the time.
She's like, doesn't make any sense.
She still would have nailed the role.
Yes, absolutely.
Sense of humor.
Thank you
incredible.
so much for that, Will. And we will be right back here on GMA.
Good morning, America. It's our second hour. Scenes of devastation. Hurricane Helene carving a path of destruction through the South. Dozens of people killed, entire neighborhoods leveled. Helicopter rescues above dangerous rushing water. Massive damage stretching from Florida to North Carolina.
Didn't think it was going to be nearly as bad as it turned out to be.
GMA with team coverage stretching along the path and where the storm is headed next.
The high cost of groceries, the report on how much we're spending on food, the good news, and what you need to know, plus the simple ways you can save.
ESPN host and best-selling author Mike Greenberg is here, looking ahead to the NFL's big games this weekend and dishing on his new book, Got Your Answers.
And real simple home decor upgrades. Little ways to make big impacts all over the house without breaking the bank.
Job. You finally got menace to society Emily Gilmore off the street.
She's been a pop culture icon for decades.
I think she gets this from me.
Now Kelly Bishop opening up.
I really wanted to tell the story.
On her story on and off the screen. As we say, Good Morning America.
It's Saturday morning. This is GMA.
Good morning, America. On this Sunday, we can't wait to hear from Kelly Bishop, and we got a lot of Oh, it is Saturday.
Oh my
boy.
goodness, wishing the weekend away.
Yeah, that's right. It is Saturday. It is good to see you, but we do have a lot to get to this morning with breaking news from the Middle East.
Yes, a busy start to the weekend. Hezbollah is confirming that Israel's attack on its headquarters in Lebanon killed the militant group's leader. We will go live there in just a moment.
But first here, the devastation from Hurricane Helene, now a post-tropical cyclone still dumping rainfall with gusty winds. The storm sustained winds hitting 140 miles per hour when it came ashore in Florida's Big Bend. Let's go back to ABC's Faith Agube in Atlanta with more. Faith, good morning.
Good morning to you, Whit. More than 700,000 people are still without power here in Georgia this morning. Helene's impact has been devastating, but the recovery continues.
This morning, devastation in Florida. Keaton Beach obliterated after being hit with the full wrath of Hurricane Helene.
It's just sad in Keaton Beach. Nothing. That's it.
Helene's destructive reach now seen across 5 states.
The priority now is saving lives.
In Irwin, Tennessee, floodwaters surrounding this hospital. More than 50 patients and staff trapped on the roof. Rescue helicopters rushing in. This video taken from the roof showing one of those choppers approaching. Evacuations had initially begun, but with the water moving in so quickly, they were forced to retreat to higher ground. Here in Atlanta, vehicles abandoned on sunken streets. The owner of this vehicle fleeing, leaving so quickly the windshield wipers were still running. Atlanta swift water teams rescuing dozens of people. We were there when they carried out the Hall family and their neighbors.
We knew we were stuck once we saw that there was a car in the front area, as well as probably having up to 6 to 7 feet of water.
Rescuers in South Pasadena, Florida, braving both flooding and flames. And in Cedar Key, residents saying there isn't a business left standing.
However bad we imagined it would be when we were fighting this thing in the darkness, it's so much worse in the daylight.
Resident Michael Bobbitt sharing these images from that historic storm surge Thursday night.
I was trying to make it to my mama's house, but it's neck deep here. I'm not able to get any further. This is the museum. Oh no, it's chest deep here now. I'm not gonna be able to go much further. It's about to be over my head.
And Gio, the Federal Department of Health and Human Services has declared a public health emergency here in Georgia due to the devastation here. The governor, though, plans to head to the hardest hit areas today to survey the damage. Gio.
Just unbelievable images, so much devastation. All right, Faith, thank you so much. The remnants of Hurricane Helene still moving through right now. So let's get a check in with Somara Theodore now. You are watching that.
Yes, Gio, it's really unbelievable what Helene could do. We saw wind gusts as high as 106 miles per hour all the way up in Mount Mitchell, North Carolina, and that's a higher elevation. But Perry, Florida, 99 mile per hour wind gusts as this storm was making landfall. What we have now is the remnants still impacting places like Lexington, but we remain under a flash flood emergency for Boone, North Carolina, Southern Virginia, Asheville, some flood warnings in place there. Now, the remnants of Helene are going to begin to decay and dissipate as we head through the next 24 hours. That's good news. Winds still gusting, dying down by tomorrow afternoon. Janae?
All right, Samara, thank you for that. We're going to turn overseas now to our other top story this morning. Hezbollah is confirming that Israel's strike on its headquarters in Lebanon has killed the militant group's leader, Hassan Nasrallah. We're going to go now to Marcus Moore, who joins us live in Beirut. Marcus, we knew that this strike had happened. Israel was claiming to have killed him. Now Hezbollah is confirming, and this is a big deal.
Yeah, this is a huge deal, Janae. Hezbollah coming out with this confirmation just before the hour, confirming that Hassan Nasrallah was indeed killed in the airstrikes that we actually watched unfold in the distance behind us here. This word coming not long ago, and as soon as it came out, we heard gunfire echoing in the streets of Beirut, which is often done to honor martyrs. And there were people here who were wailing after learning the news of Hassan Nasrallah's death. The 64-year-old killed in a series of rocket strikes on Friday in southern Beirut. And just hours after that air assault that killed Nasrallah, Israel warned people living in the southern suburb of Dahia to leave their homes immediately as the IDF targeted more residential buildings. And in central Beirut today, We saw families huddled together on the streets and in parks. These were people who weren't able to get into shelters. Many of them told us they had just minutes to leave their homes in southern Beirut before the bombs started falling. And in just 1 week, 100,000 people have been displaced. And we know, according to the health ministry, that at least 6 people were killed in the strikes and more than 150 injured in those strikes last night in Dahia. Israel saying that they were targeting Iranian-supplied precision-guided missiles that belong to Hezbollah, and some of them, they say, are stored beneath civilian buildings here in the capital, and we have watched those strikes continue. As I speak to you, you may even be able to see the smoke and the dust rising into the air in the distance. But guys, Nasrallah's death will no doubt have an impact on this war, but also the entire Middle East region.
Sure will, and the world watching to see what happens next. Marcus Moore for us, thank you. Coming up in our GMA morning menu, the high cost of feeding your family. We'll show you ways to stretch your dollar at the grocery store.
Also ahead here, we're looking forward to the Global Citizens Festival. We're going to have a preview of the big night coming up.
And our girl, Tori Johnson, here with small business deals and steals all about comfort. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to GMA with our cover story here, the high cost of household groceries. A new report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics finds that our spending on food increased yet again. And Alexis Christoforous joins us now to break this all down. How do we save, Alexis?
Oh, Gio, that's the question we're all asking, right? Look, I'm going to start with the good news first. Grocery prices aren't going up as much as they were 2 years ago, but food prices are still taking a big bite out of household budgets. According to a new report from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the typical American household spent about 7% more on food last year, or nearly $10,000. About $500 of that each month was on groceries. And while overall inflation has been cooling off, everyday essentials are still costing more. Like eggs, for instance, up 28%. Butter costing nearly 7% more, while the price of frozen OJ is up more than 18% from a year ago. But there are ways to get that monthly food bill down. So experts recommend signing up for emails and downloading apps from your favorite grocers to unlock rewards and discounts. Take advantage of credit cards that come with free subscriptions to delivery apps such as DoorDash and Grubhub, which regularly offer discounts on groceries. And it's not just the big name grocers here. Talk to your local grocer about special deals they may have so you can take advantage. And be sure to buy store brand products when possible. And whether it's in the store or online, here's my favorite: shop with a list to avoid that impulse buying, because we've all been there. Whit?
Of course, got to have that list. Alexis, thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right, we are joined now by two brilliant sports minds, ESPN host and best-selling author Mike Greenberg and producer Paul Hembekides, but you gave me permission to call you Hembo, just like everybody else, right? All right, they've co-authored a new book, Got Your Answers, the 100 Greatest Sports Arguments Settled. Good morning to you both. Thanks for coming in. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having us on. We're thrilled.
This is great. So I love this idea here, right? You're digging into the biggest arguments in sports and you're settling them once and for all. These are things that have divided families and friends. So how did you go about tackling this issue, Mike?
Well, we figured out, I have over the 30 years I've been hosting sports talk shows, there's nothing sports fans love more than debating and arguing. I think this guy's better than that guy. She's better than her. That team's the greatest of all time. So we identified the 100 things people most love to argue about, and then we settled them because Hembo's specialty is research, unbelievable with data, and my passion is sports history. So between the two of those, if you buy this book and you read it, you will never, I promise, never lose a sports debate.
Ever. Okay, that's perfect. And I love how we use the top 10 format here. And I want to give one example because this is my favorite here. You feature the 100 lists and sports prodigies here. We're talking about Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, LeBron James. So who gets number one?
Some of the greatest athletes in the history of sports have also been prodigious athletes. And when you consider all of those athletes, let's think for a second about Wayne Gretzky, who at the age of 9 was put on the same list as some of the greatest hockey players of all time. For him to go from being someone who at such a young age had the weight of those expectations on his shoulders to become the greatest hockey player that ever lived, inarguably, with the weight of a whole country on his shoulder, we consider Wayne Gretzky to be the greatest prodigy in the history of sports.
Wow. And how did you two fight over these things, though, right? There had to be like big debates internally.
People ask us that all the time, and we really don't. We really let the data answer the question. So That's the beauty of this thing. People will bring their opinions to these debates all the time. Opinions are, anyone can have one. We actually settle these debates using the research, using a knowledge of the history. So there really wasn't as much fighting between the two of us as you would think.
So the facts speak for themselves. Let's talk about another one, because this is fun. The book appeals to people who aren't just sports fans. So I like this top 10 sports movies of all time. How do you get into this one?
So first of all, I had to separate it between sports dramas and sports comedies, because you just can't compare Dodgeball, a true underdog story, to Remember the Titans, right?
Yes,
It's like
exactly.
comparing steak to pizza. It just doesn't work that way. So we did it separately. So I will tell you what our list is. My number one sports drama of all time is Rocky, the original Rocky, which I think is a movie you could watch it 100 times and never stop loving it. And my number one comedy, and this might be a function of my age, is Caddyshack.
Yes.
If you know, you know.
I mean, that's right. You'll get nothing and like it. I still say that to my kids today. All right, Mike, we also want to ask you, too, because you're the host of NFL Sunday Countdown now. Big game coming up. We've got the Bills versus the Ravens. What can you tell us about expectations?
Well, I mean, it's the first, probably best game of the year so far. It's tomorrow night. I'll take the Buffalo side of it. Josh Allen, I think, right now is trending towards being the MVP of the league. The Bills look like the best team in the AFC. It is painful for me to say that as a passionate, lifelong fan of the New York Jets. That's the team the Jets have to chase this year. And Allen, who has been as good as anybody in the league for a while, is right now the best player in the NFL.
The quarterback for the Ravens, Lamar Jackson, a two-time MVP, but much like Josh Allen, has been stymied by Patrick Mahomes, who continues to win the AFC, it seems like. And so it's really a matchup of who's got next in the AFC, and this is going to be one of the great quarterback matchups in the entire NFL season.
Excellent. It's going to be great to watch. And it's great to have you both on the show. We truly appreciate it. It's going to be fun. Reading that book, You Got Answers, or Got Your Answers. My apologies. It is out right now. Janae, let's send it over to you.
You got it, Whit. Thank you very much. Now to Deals and Steals. Suri Johnson is here with products that bring comfort and all from small businesses. And I am already jazzed up about this because these look comfy.
They are.
And feel good.
They live up to their name, Softies. This is one of their softest fabrics ever for pajamas.
Like
We've got both nightgowns as well as two-piece sets. And not only is it just breathable, easy to move, super comfortable to wear, but it's also a temperature regulating, moisture wicking fabric so that you feel cool when you wear it. These are not pajamas that are going to make you even hotter. They're going to help you cool down. And today, they're all 50% off.
Cha-ching!
Cha-ching!
Love that. Okay,
All right.
what is all
Speaking of cooling down, this is Womanist. It is skincare for women by women. This right here is their signature product. It is called Let's Neck. And so that is, you feel that it's cool.
Wait, it is cool.
So that's the pro tip.
I don't want my makeup artist to yell at me.
So when you smooth in that neck area. So imagine if you had a hot flash and that provided instant relief.
Yeah,
or imagine if you just wanted to tighten and lift that neck area.
Yeah.
Check, check, check. All of those boxes.
All the
That's that is what that product does. It's their proprietary formula that is hydrating, soothing, but then it's also that cooling relief with that application. Let's Neck. And then plump it up. This is their retinol face serum, and this is all of the products are really about aging well.
Yeah.
That is what they're all about.
There you go.
Aging well, and the prices are phenomenal because everything's 50% off starting at $11.
We are loving it. I like actually love this stuff, and I'm just about out of this at home.
You are?
So
I knew
it's
it.
perfect
That's
timing.
perfect timing. This is Rinse Bath & Body, a big variety of handcrafted bath and body products. A couple of their favorites. This one right here, their body oil, because it leaves a nice radiant glow. You can use it hands, legs, kind of everywhere. We also have their brand new pumpkin spice. So if you need your pumpkin spice fix, we also have their essential oil roller ballers. Look at this one. This one smells so good. That's peppermint. Like when you need an invigorating, just like jolt.
It's good.
All of their products are really fabulous. Their shower bombs popular too. Everything slashed in half. These start at $3. The entire assortment is 15 and under.
Okay.
All right. Another one that's great. Malibu Sky. This is the double zipped. I left it right there so that you could show. Double zipped. It's got all of the compartments right there, plus the little wristlet. It's just a great lined interior, but then a really pretty pebbled faux leather on the exterior. 6 different colors. Janae, this is $18. And free shipping
Oh my God.
from Malibu Sky.
Christmas shopping.
Hello.
Get to it.
Exactly.
Ooh,
All right, Pro Talus. This is all about the extreme comfort that they can bring in your footwear.
Okay.
So uncomfortable. If your feet are uncomfortable, your whole day is ruined. Your body is out of whack.
Yep.
These are designed specifically. You see that heel cup? That is specifically designed to be able to bring your body into proper alignment. And that is comfort when you use it that you will feel everywhere from your back, your hips, down to your legs. It's like kind of like life-changing insoles. These are.
Wow.
We've got a big variety of them. They're sized for men and women. They're 50% off.
Life-changing.
They really are, because when your feet feel good, everything does.
Yep.
And then finally, we've got hollow socks making their deal's debut. Put your hand in there. That's the boot sock. Feel how comfortable that interior is. So these are all made from alpaca, which is one of the best fibers. These are good. There you go. We've got boot socks that will keep your feet warm, shoe socks, ankle socks. They're also going to keep your feet at the right temperature, which is important with these. So your feet are going to stay dry. They're going to stay at the perfect temperature, and best of all,
free shipping.
Stink-free. Stink-free feet is even better than free shipping.
Absolutely.
Okay? 50% off, $11.50 to $22.50 from Hollow.
Stink-free feet.
Stink-free
Love
feet.
it. Thank you so much, Tori. We've partnered with these companies on all of these great deals. You can get them on our website, where you will also find bonus deals.
We want to get right to an important and urgent update.
Da-da-da-da.
Big breaking news.
It's Samara's birthday, everybody. Yeah. And we got a little clip to show you. Take a look.
Oh, no. Good morning, Somara. That is the sun behind you.
That is. Take a look. It is alive. What is our sun? It's a ball of hot gas, mainly hydrogen and helium, and it's active.
I love it when you get to geek out like that.
I'm an atmospheric scientist, but this is so scientifically spiritual. Right now, I'm almost at a loss for words. It's time for hometown trivia, and I can't wait for this one. We're headed to Orlando, Florida. And it turns out that it was October 1st, 1971, which makes Disney a Libra, just like me. You guys are doing brackets. Mine looks like abstract art.
We are bringing in Samara to host our very own game show this morning.
You are killing it here with us. We love having you.
You are doing it right. Spring is spring. Thank you so much, Samara.
Happy birthday.
And I just want to say thank you guys. You know, so often people off air say, how are they in real life? You guys make coming to work so awesome. I love you guys so much, and it's so real, everything we share. So, mwah.
Can you say team, though? Because I'm not a guy, so just to be inclusive.
I'm
please.
sorry. That's Janae for you, right? Whit's going to keep you laughing, Gio's going to keep me informed, and Janae's going to keep it real.
One library is winning the weekend by letting generations collide.
Yeah, the city of Marion in Australia has libraries trying to appeal to younger readers, and they shared a new video posted on Facebook with librarian Denise reading a script written by a Gen Z staffer. Take a look.
Hey besties, have your best frat girl summer at Marion Libraries. Having a library card hits different. Very considerate, very mindful, very demure.
Oh, she's cute.
I like it.
The video is a hit with 10,000 likes and counting. The library posting this caption.
My colleague.
This with the caption, Slay Denise.
Slay the day, as my daughter would say.
There you go.
Slay the day.
You know that Gen Z language.
See, it's like him saying it.
Yeah.
Slay the day. It sounds
Slay
generations
the day.
alive.
It hits different.
Hogwarts is threatened. Man the boundaries, protect us. Do your duty to our school. I've always wanted to use that spell.
I only know that because
Is that
Gio showed me that exact clip earlier, and he was so excited.
I mean, it's an iconic scene, an iconic woman. Back now on GMA, one of Dame Maggie Smith's most incredible moments there is Professor McGonagall in the Harry Potter franchise. We are celebrating the life of the Oscar-winning legend of stage and screen. Her career spans 6 decades.
Yeah. Our Hogwarts super fan, by the way.
Yes, that's why he just loved that clip.
We've lost so many of the professors now.
Definitely. All right, let's take a look at some of the top headlines that we're following right now. Hurricane Helene carving a path of destruction through the south. This morning, flash flood warnings remain in effect across several states, including multiple flash flood emergencies in parts of North Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. Helene has claimed the lives of at least 44 people.
Some important medical news this morning. The FDA approving the first new drug to treat people with schizophrenia. in more than 30 years. The drug has been shown to help manage symptoms such as hallucinations, delusions, disorganized thinking. It's a pill taken twice a day.
And one of the big games to watch today in college football is number 2 Georgia facing number 4 Alabama. The first top 5 showdown of the season will take place in Tuscaloosa, Alabama tonight starting at 7:30 Eastern time. You, of course, can catch it all right here on ABC.
Roll Tide.
That's right, Roll Tide.
Now to one of pop culture's most famous moms. From Dirty Dancing to Gilmore Girls, Kelly Bishop has bestowed wisdom on multiple generations. And Will Gans, you got to sit down with her. Good morning again. How was it?
It was incredible, and she is such a legend. I was just geeking out to Gio. She was in the original cast of A Chorus Line on Broadway, which for me is a huge deal. But get this, Kelly Bishop wasn't even supposed to play Baby's mom in Dirty Dancing. She was cast as another part, and she showed up to set on day 1, and they asked if she could switch last minute. Thanks to her notorious professionalism and some convincing from Jerry Orbach, she took on the new challenge. That's just one of many secrets she spilled in her brand new memoir.
From the small screen,
Honestly, Lorelai, must you be so maudlin?
to the silver screen,
I think she gets this from me.
Kelly Bishop has been a pop culture mainstay for more than 5 decades.
You finally got menace to society Emily Gilmore off the streets. You'll be hearing from my lawyer.
And now the Third Gilmore Girl is opening up in a brand new, brilliantly crafted memoir.
Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't read the book yet. You casually mentioned that you're Team Logan.
I like him. I like his acting. There's something about Matt's delivery and the way he would tilt his head that I just thought, he's such a man. And then besides the fact that he came from a rich family, so of course she should be with him. It is. It's gone. Was it here during drinks?
Oh, I can't say that I noticed.
You, hovering there. What do you know about this?
Emily Gilmore, how fun was that part to play for you?
So much fun, I can't tell you. I love playing women like that. The ones I don't like, the ones I would never like. If they're nasty, I do my best to make them worse.
Kelly nearly titled the memoir At the Ballet in honor of her star turn in Broadway's A Chorus Line, about to celebrate its 50th anniversary.
What do you remember about winning that Tony Award?
It was truly amazing because I had not expected to. I don't remember my feet touching the ground. So it was exactly when people talk about walking on air. It was glorious.
The book covers a lot of those moments of success and of triumph, and then there are a lot of really personal, really vulnerable stories and abortion that you've opened up about. Why did you decide that now was the time to share those vulnerable sides of yourself?
I really wanted to tell the story. I wanted to tell the truth. And as far as the abortion went, when Roe v. Wade was taken away from us, it infuriated me and broke my heart for my little sisters. And I wanted people to understand, especially people who are so opposed to abortion, and that's their right, to understand that it's not a frivolous process. It's not something one takes on lightly.
Mom, you can't replace the fabric.
Mom, you can't replace the fabric. Mom, you can't buy a plane.
I'm going to give you a co-star that you've shared the stage or the screen with. You tell me the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
Let's start with Morgan Freeman.
Such a gentleman, a very good dancer. And there was just something so gentle and sweet about it.
Jerry Orbach.
It's his first real vacation in 6 years, Max. Take it easy.
What a peach. What a sweet man, such an accomplished actor. His wife told me later that he would write her a poem every morning.
Lauren Graham.
My darling daughter. She is my darling daughter. She's one of my favorite people in the world, and we connect all the time. Yeah, she's the one.
When people are talking about Kelly Bishop, what do you hope they remember most?
I'd love them to say she was a swell broad.
A swell broad indeed. The Third Gilmore Girl is available now. And for more with Kelly Bishop, check out the latest episode of Pop Culture Moms, wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, one word for you, Kelly Bishop.
What's my one-word review?
Kelly Bishop.
Feisty.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah. And just legendary.
Yeah.
I don't know. I need more than one. Sorry.
Thank you so much, Will.
Now on GMA here with look at the Global Citizen Festival. Artists, entertainers, and thousands of others gathering for the annual festival that calls for an end to extreme poverty around the world. And this year's event kicks off today right here in New York. Take a look at this.
Today, whether you're in the crowd or on the stage or watching at home, know that this is no ordinary moment. and we are all in this together with a purpose.
The annual Global Citizens Festival in New York City is a star-studded affair.
Let's rock it!
Kicking off this weekend with headliners like Post Malone, Jelly Roll,
But I'm only going higher.
Rauw Alejandro, and making her return to Central Park's Great Lawn, Doja Cat. The festival hosted by Global Citizen Ambassador Hugh Jackman.
G'day, global citizens.
Timed to the UN General Assembly meeting to advocate for an end to poverty around the world. What a lineup, huh?
Yep.
And joining us right now is the Global Citizen Chief of Growth. What a title. Caroline Robinson, good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Oh, well, it's a pleasure to have you because the first one was back in 2012. So many different accomplishments. What is the mission of Global Citizen?
So Global Citizen is on a mission to alleviate extreme poverty in our lifetime. And since its inception, $43.3 billion have been deployed, impacting 1.3 billion lives around the world.
Wow. And we know this event, it brings together advocacy and entertainment. What more can we expect from the artists that we'll see?
So it's an incredible lineup. Doja Cat, Post Malone, Benson Boone, Rauw Alejandro, Ray, Lisa from Blackpink, appearances by Chris Martin and Dr. Jane Goodall, and hosted, as you see, by the one and only #1 friend of Global Citizen, Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
I mean, that's incredible.
Incredible. Yeah, it really is. And this all takes place here in New York in Central Park. But how can people around the country get involved?
So I think, first of all, it's important to know that what we want to accomplish this year is we want to put pressure on the G20 to fund low-interest loans to 75 of the world's poorest countries, most of which are in sub-Saharan Africa. We want to launch a climate campaign to save the Amazon rainforest, and you can participate here in New York City. You can put pressure on Kathy Hochul to pass the Trees Act, which will prevent tropical deforestation. And finally, we want to put pressure on the European Commission to give 360 million euros to Gavi, which will ensure that 500 million children are vaccinated from preventable diseases. And right here in New York, if you're not going to the show, you can go to globalcitizenfestival.watch and find out where to watch it live at 4 o'clock near you. But most importantly, it's broadcasting live on ABC News Live.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's where you want to watch it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're not just talking the talk, you're walking the walk. Thank you for
very
all
much.
you do. Thank you, Caroline. And you can watch all the action, as she just said, live when this year's Global Citizen Festival streams on ABC News Live, Disney+, Hulu. You got so many places to find it, starting at 4 p.m. Eastern
Wait,
today.
before you go, she didn't tell her mom, Andrea, in the Bronx, that she was going to be on today, so now your mom's going to see you.
Now to U.S. women's soccer coach Emma Hayes, fresh off that major gold medal win at the Paris Games this summer. Now she's sharing her championship-winning secrets in a new book called A Completely Different Game, My Leadership Playbook. Our Eva Pilgrim has the story.
Tucks it in for the USA!
This goal against Brazil, clinching the gold for Team USA at the Paris Summer Games. And on the sidelines, coaching them through the win, Emma Hayes.
You had barely any time to get this team ready. How were you able to pull that off?
You can only achieve great things with great people. Like, that is always my starting point. It's just been an absolute blast because the players have been amazing, the staff have been amazing, US Soccer have been brilliant, and I felt supported from day one.
Hayes, a longtime leader in the sport, championing women's soccer on and off the pitch.
The women's team has been such a champion of women's issues. We've seen them fighting for equal pay, and you think there's more work still to be done?
Yeah, of course there is. I think certainly the hardest parts have been done, but I don't think it ever stops.
Now Hayes is coaching us all with her new book, A Completely Different Game, My Leadership Playbook.
What are you hoping people take away when they read the book?
You're not just a natural born leader, you're made. You have to have the emotional intelligence as well as the skill set to be able to bring the best out, and recognise that, hey, along that there'll be lots of failures, lots of mistakes, and that's where the growth happens.
For Good Morning America, Eva Pilgrim, ABC News, New York.
I love it. Also, a great moment for U.S. women's soccer, too.
Absolutely. And they've been the team's such a fan of hers.
Yes. Yes. So a completely different game is available right now. Check it out. Coming up here, we are sharing tips on how to get designer upgrades on a budget.
We are back now with the peek inside this year's Real Simple Home, and Erica Finnemore is here with ideas to help for how to incorporate similar design upgrades into your own decor. Erica, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So we're standing by this gallery wall. First, though, tell us about Real Simple Home.
Right. So every year, Real Simple works with some of our favorite designers to transform a space. This year, we were lucky enough to have this incredible brownstone from the 1890s in Crown Heights, Brooklyn.
Oh my goodness.
So I'm excited to show you some tips.
Yeah. Okay. So let's start in the living room. The art of putting together the perfect gallery wall. It can be tough.
Yes, and I mean, big pieces of art are expensive.
Yeah.
They look great, but they are pricey. So what I want to say here is that you don't really need a huge piece of art to make a big impact. In the den of the Real Simple Home, our designer, Jessica Davis, she created a gallery wall with tons of smaller prints, some as small as 5 by 7.
Wow.
So, and it looks amazing. So you don't really need to break the bank for that. And then a really cool idea here, if you don't have art pieces or you want to make some of your own, the Brownstone boys created these. They found old recipe cards from their family. They put them on patterned paper, framed them, and it's beautiful art that's sentimental. It doesn't cost anything. It's really personal. It's perfect.
And you said the Brownstone boys?
The Brownstone boys. They are an amazing duo who renovate all of these brownstones in Brooklyn, bring back the original detail. They're brilliant.
Cool. The Brownstone boys in Brooklyn. Okay, and you say don't ignore the ceiling.
Right. So people tend to ignore the ceiling. We call it the fifth wall. But what it can do is add a huge pop of color to your space. So in the den, again, Jessica Davis, the designer who did the den, painted the walls this really vibrant yellow, kind of like what you're wearing. And then she painted the ceiling a sky blue, and it gives this optical illusion that you have more space. So, I mean, who doesn't want 16-foot ceiling?
Yeah,
and that's what they look like.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're moving to the heart of the home, the kitchen.
Right.
Tell me about some ways to zhuzh it up.
So let's start in the organization front.
Yeah.
Everyone is trying to, tame the pantry chaos at all times. So our friends at Meat Method, they have these baskets that are super cute.
Really good baskets.
They hide all the packaging because, sometimes food packaging, not the cutest.
Yeah.
And they have these interchangeable labels over here. So you can tell what's in them.
Yeah.
So you don't have to reach down for everything. I'm 5'2". I'm trying to not reach down for 10 baskets at a time. So these are perfect. And then on the decor front, what I love about these, so the Real Simple Home has these incredible marble backsplashes.
Yeah.
I wish I had that. I'm sure a lot of us wish we had that. But if you don't, you're not stuck with it. These peel and stick tiles are amazing. They're inexpensive. They come in a huge variety of colors and
lots of
patterns.
options.
It just takes a couple hours and you have a totally new kitchen.
Amazing. Okay, and finally, a creative way to get kids involved.
Yep.
This is cool.
Right? So Jessica Davis took a simple white lamp base and just drew on it in marker to create this design.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's beautiful, it's floral. If you're not an artist, do not worry about it. You don't have to be.
Yeah.
Simple dotted lines or polka dots look great, and it's a really fun way to get kids involved in decorating their own space.
My kids would love this. I think I'm gonna make this a home art project.
Yes.
This is incredible. Erica, thank you so much
Thank
for
you
these
so much.
fun little tips. The latest issue of Real Simples on newsstands now. Thank you again.
And once again, happy birthday to our friend Somara. And these are gluten-free, vegan cupcakes.
They're dairy-free, so I can spare all of you this morning.
Does that mean I can, am I going to like this?
Yeah, you're going to love it. It's delicious.
All right.
It's delicious.
Happy birthday, Samara.
I love you guys so
Happy
much.
birthday
Thank you.
to
Love
you.
you, Mommy.
We
Thank you
adore
for bringing me into this world, Mom and Dad.
There you go.
34,
Thank
guys.
that mama. Thank you for starting
she
your day
said.
with us. We'll see you tomorrow.